I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids.
Well, my name is Chris Watts. I'm doing my communication speech for Brenda Armentrout, and welcome to Broomfield, Colorado.
I want everybody to just come home, like wherever they're at, come home, and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on. And I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on. I know I wasn't going to kiss them to bed tonight. That's why last night was just horrible.
And you did distractions such as work, hobbies, relationships, no matter how harmless, even at the job. You might meet a new person and it could strengthen into something else.
Hi. It's me. You guys just call me back when you have a chance. Bye.
Which when you become unhappy with all the everyday interactions with you and your partner.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
This video is in response to Kim at this YouTube channel, Chris Watts Revelation. Here's what she said. People in the crime community started asking who I was. I've been closely tied to Chris Watts, his case, and his family, and I've heard D.A. Rourke get up and explain Shanann was not drunk and the rest of his story. I'm just trying to move you through aspects of the evidence, I guess you could say, to prove what Chris said matched with evidence in the autopsy. It's been a misconception with the DA that they met with the Watts family and showed them all the evidence that proves Chris was guilty. That was a lie. It never happened. Why would it happen, Kim? He's over 18 and he's not considered disabled. He's an adult, and he killed his family. Kim said all they told the Watts was they had a theory. I'm going to do my best to give you a real answer for the results. The DA wanted to hold out on releasing the toxicology reports. Why? Why do they want to hold out releasing all this information? Well, an autopsy is a medical exam. There are things still protected under HIPAA. Kim says, here's her blood alcohol, 0.128. Is there a very rare instance in which someone, something, whatever? That's what she says. Where is the explanation for her blood alcohol content? Well, Kim, it's on page 994 under reference comments in the discovery files. .128 result does not mean Shanann Watts was drinking alcohol. Ethanol can also be a product of decomposition and of degradation of biological samples. Empirical research on alcohol production post-mortem states it's been well established in literature that alcohol can be produced post-mortem in variable and non-predictable amounts, an issue that might cause serious legal implications. So, can anyone state with 100% medical certainty that Shanann had been drinking? That would be a big fat no. Absolutely not. Kim says, explain to me why right after that report was released, if D.A. Rourke was so sure at a certain level of yes, this is why this is happening, he had to re-interview all of Shanann's friends and ask them about Shanann's alcohol consumption while they were in Arizona. It's called due diligence, Cam. It's a criminal murder investigation. Detective Baumhover looked at the video of Shanann arriving home at 1:48 a.m. on August 13th. Does she look inebriated at all in the video? No, she doesn't. Considering she just went through hell trying to get home, she's sick, she's pregnant, she's stressed, she does not look drunk. So the Watts family is still insisting that she was. So here's some other lies Watts told. He said her eyes filled with blood, which they absolutely did not, because there were no petechial hemorrhages noted at autopsy. So she went on to talk about Shanann's evidence of injury, external evidence of injury. There's a linear array of variably sized purple-black circular defects which extend from the inferior beneath your chin aspect along the jawline of the left aspect of the face toward the left temporal area. Possible patterned abrasions of the neck. Possible patterned abrasions of the left aspect of the face. And just so you know, Cam, patterned abrasions could be consistent with defensive injuries, like trying to struggle to pull someone's hands away from your neck. Internal evidence of injury. 1 centimeter area of probable bruising on the subacute neck tissue. Bruising of the right superior upper aspect of the right sternal muscle. Your sternal muscle connects your clavicle, your sternum, and the mastoid process, which is behind your ear. She had bruising of the soft tissue and facial tissues of the surface of the right thyroid cartilage. Fact, cartilage is composed of two halves which meet in the middle at your Adam's apple. She had bruising of the soft tissue associated with the right horn of the thyroid bone. Watt said he was in a rage, and if he was, you would expect to see the hyoid or cricoid cartilage to be fractured, but there was no evidence of fracture at autopsy. So her cause of death was asphyxiation due to manual strangulation by another individual. Manner of death, homicide. So then Kim goes on to talk about Bella and Cece's tox results and her injuries. She kind of skims over Bella's injuries. So let's cover Bella's injuries. First of all, this little girl tested positive for so many different volatiles. It was crazy. She also tested positive for ethanol, and so did Cece. I mean, they literally had to be sealed in caskets that were fireproof because they were considered little bombs. What kind of a father does that? So she died from asphyxiation due to smothering. She had blunt force trauma to her face. She's only 4 years old. She had oil, water, and sludge debris in her stomach. Hydrocarbon exposure. Manner of death is homicide. And an artifact of being submerged in an oil tank for several days. She had a lot of injuries. She had scrapes on her left buttocks. She had a lacerated frenulum and upper gum line. She had bite wounds to the inside of her cheeks and the surface of her tongue. She had scrapes on her left torso and on tops of her shoulders. And little Cece Watts, 3 years old. Manner of death is homicide. Likely cause of death is asphyxiation due to smothering. She had no external evidence of injury and no internal evidence of injury. She had no petechial hemorrhages. But her skin on her hands did come off when they were trying to take her out of the tanks, which were packaged separately, including her fingernails. She also had a collapsed lung. She also tested positive for ethanol and a lot of industrial solvents from being submerged in that tank. Well, what kind of a father does that? After he confessed, they asked him, and Chris said he put the girls in the tanks with their arms stretched above their head. Then why did Bella have scratches on top of her shoulders? So when they returned to the room, they asked Chris if he was positive they were inside the tanks. He said yes. Chris said he put the girls into the tanks by the hatch, the thief hatch on top, which is only 8 inches wide, by the way. He said he had to walk up the stairs, then open the hatch. They told him detectives could hardly fit their arm in that hatch. They asked Chris if it was hard to get the girls in the tanks. He said no. If he had to push the girls into the tanks, and he said not really. So on the day that the canines went to the house, 3 sets of dogs did not detect any trauma or death upstairs in the house, in the loft, in the bedrooms, on the main level of the house. The Watts family insists that 2 people were murdered in Cece's room. That would be Shanann and Cece. But the canines didn't even alert in this room. And they believe Shanann murdered Bella in her room, but the canines also did not alert in Bella's room. Tracking dog did detect Bella's scent on a book that was underneath her bed. That's it. But the basement of the house is an entirely different crime scene. The canines show interest in the unmade bed in the basement. You can hear the man saying, "This may be her scent." Canines show interest inside this basement cabinet. And in the area beneath the basement steps. And in this corner of the basement near the girls' little trampoline thing in the basement, he says something is upsetting him in here, trauma. And this hasn't been cleaned up like everything else. So Jeff's canine was specifically trained to detect trauma. The sheriff's dog is a cadaver dog. I'm pretty confident that he had a body or parts down here, he said. Once again, they alerted to the basement corner, under the steps, and the bed in the basement. And they also did alert outside of Chris Watts' truck. And what's strange is why, with his CPR training, supposedly, didn't he call 911 and try to revive his daughters? It doesn't make any sense. So on August 13th, his phone logged Shanann's entry into the home. And between 1:48 and 4:23 a.m., there was no movement in the house. At 2:18 a.m., the router logged unspecified activity on his phone. At 8:26 in the morning, he called the daughter's daycare and said the girls wouldn't be at school and wouldn't be attending. He contacted the realtor about selling the house. He looked up lyrics to Metallica's song Battery. He searched the internet for hotels in Aspen and the Westin Snowmass Resort. And he took photographs of sunflowers, Kessinger's favorite flower. Does this sound like a traumatized, distraught father to you? Of course, Ronnie Watts described Shanann as controlling, narcissistic, blah, blah, blah. But he never did tell CBI that Chris feared for his life. Watts said, "When I finished putting the girls to bed, I walked away and said, that's the last time I'm going to be tucking my babies in." Bottoms up, Kim.